And we continue now with our tributes for Minister Jackson Mthembu, Minister in the Presidency, who passed away yesterday after battling COVID-19. President Cyril Ramaphosa confirmed the news in a statement yesterday afternoon. Mthembu tested positive for the virus on the 11th of January. And for some more reaction to Minister Mthembu's passing, we are joined on the line now by State Security Minister Ayanda Dlodlo. Minister Dlodlo, good morning. Thanks for being with us, and condolences to you.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
So, Minister, when you look around to what people are saying, the tributes that are coming in, people are remembering Minister Jackson Mthembu very fondly. But can you just take us back to your first encounter on a personal level with Jackson Mthembu?
I think with Comrade Jackson, you cannot have just one encounter with him, because those encounters were different encounters in different settings and situations. I've encountered him in working in Mpumalanga on a mission of the African National Congress in the campaigns, and that's a different setting. I've encountered him in the National Assembly as the chief whip, which meant that he basically was our boss as the chief whip of the majority party and head of the caucus when we were all MPs. I've encountered him during the election campaign when we were preparing for our elections and when we were dealing with the manifesto of the African National Congress and talking to our people about what our manifesto was about. The encounters are too many, to talk to. But the one thing that is constant in all of these encounters is a diligent, disciplined, and very hardworking, conscientious man.
And let's talk about that, because Jackson Mthembu looms large when you look at this democratic dispensation and the African National Congress in particular. Always been there, always been one of the central figures one way or another. And in that regard, in terms of his principle, how would you describe him?
Well, for Comrade Jackson, a lot of people did not know that he actually did not live in Johannesburg. But you would realize, Sakina, that he was in Johannesburg for most of his time. He only went to Witbank, drove all the way to Witbank every night to go and sleep and come back the following morning, and diligently assumed his responsibility when he was the spokesperson and a member of the National Executive Committee at Lotuli House. So we know him to be that kind of person who puts his work first, and somehow he manages to juxtapose that with finding a balance between his work and also with giving time to his family. I don't even know if he had hobbies, because if he did have hobbies, he then wouldn't have had time for all of that. But he was that type of person that would always try and find a balance, difficult as it was for him, to make time for his family and make time to deliver on the tasks that were placed before him.
And as you say, at some point, he was your boss, as it were, as the chief whip in the National Assembly. And speaking to colleagues, Zonke was reminding us this morning of an incident, an encounter where he came down very hard on colleagues because of how they were behaving towards the media. So talk to us about, that side of him, the disciplinarian who actually understood his role and made sure that everybody would toe the line.
You see, Sakina, it was not even only about behavior towards the media. Jackson had a problem with people who behaved badly towards others. That was the bottom line. In whatever station in life you were, Jackson expected that you would give respect to those people that you encountered. Whether it was the media, whether it was staff at a parliamentary constituency office, whether it was people on the side of the street requiring assistance from the PCO or from a politician, Jackson expected all of us to treat people with dignity. So it was not just with the media, but it was in the way in which we carried ourselves in the face of the public and how the public encountered us.
Also very kind and a very generous man. And when you speak to people, they will talk to you about this man who was unwavering and that you always knew where you stood with him because he just never wavered. He never changed from where he was, the person he was. And that also is something that I'm sure you would have encountered, Minister.
Yeah, he had a very warm and accommodating demeanor for almost everybody. Whether he agreed with you on matters or he disagreed with you on matters, his demeanor was always warm and accommodating towards you and your views. He did differ with us sometimes on issues, but that didn't mean that he felt that his views were superior to yours. It was your view, but he also had to put his view across in a manner that did not put you down as an individual.
Yeah, and I think so many South Africans and especially people working in the media can attest to that. It wouldn't matter how difficult an interview was, how difficult the issue was that he would have to deal with. And there were many over the years in the African National Congress. One thinks back to some moments where, for example, there was the disbandment of the PEC in Mpumalanga. That would have been around the early 2000s. And, even then, he stood firm in what he believed in. And then over time, as things changed within the African National Congress, he never took it personally when tough questions were put to him. And just in terms of how he behaved and how he understood and saw the role of the media, the lessons that were imparted to his comrades and colleagues in that regard. Did he bother to take you guys on that sort of journey, Minister?
Jackson was a very jovial person. Very, very jovial. You wouldn't think that Jackson had problems in life. You wouldn't think that anything hurt Jackson. And like all of us, he did have problems. Like all of us, there were things in life that hurt him. But he always showed this other side of him, that in grief, he saw happiness. In sad moments, he saw and even cultivated humor. He never boxed himself in a situation without looking at the lighter side of that particular situation, which made things a lot lighter, even for a lot of us, to confront him or approach him on issues that were not very comfortable for us. But he would always find a way of dealing with that. For instance, you would be unhappy with Jackson over something, and you meet him the following day, and he is so happy to see you. The one thing that we knew him for, he would kiss the girls, the Georgie Porgy pudding and pie, but he wouldn't make them cry. Jackson was the type that will plant a huge kiss on your lips in greeting, in a very warm, comradely and friendly way. And whatever it is that you would have had against Jackson, it would just melt away because of that.
Now, Minister Dlodlo, what does this loss mean to the African National Congress?
It means one more soldier down. It literally means one more soldier in the front down. There is only one Jackson Mthembu in the ANC, and replacing him will never be easy. And replacing him is going to be impossible. You cannot replace Jackson. There's only one Jackson Mthembu. He took all the jobs that he was given very seriously and executed them diligently and with dedication and zeal. An indication of how he felt a sense of indebtedness to our people because he regarded himself as a servant of the people and nothing less and nothing more. He was the type of person who was tough on the outside, but like a marshmallow, very soft on the inside, very compassionate, and always put his best smile forward, accompanied by his best foot at all times. And this loss is felt not only within his political family in the African National Congress. My heart goes to Comrade Jackson's wife, who has been dealing with multiple bereavements over the last year or so in the Mthembu family. It goes out to his children, the family, his colleagues in parliament, and his colleagues in cabinet. That Jackson with a huge smile, with that loud laugh, and that towering presence is no more. That person who would push you an extra mile to do your work and to deliver on the tasks that had been given to you is no more. What remains now is the memory of a diligent soldier who put people first. And that's a great lesson that we need to carry with us if we are to remember who this great soul was.
Minister Dlodlo, truly sorry for your loss, and this is one that the nation actually is feeling with you. And please take heart, and let's leave it there for now. But we thank you so much for your time this morning. And that was Minister Ayanda Dlodlo speaking to us and talking about the late Jackson Mthembu, who passed on yesterday. And we continue to get reaction, and we are asking you a question this morning also related to the passing of Minister Jackson Mthembu, but also to you. We're asking you this morning, we're inviting you, in fact, to send through your tributes for late Minister Jackson Mthembu, but also to share with us your personal stories of loss during this coronavirus pandemic. And there have been many. Every time you go to your social media pages, Leanne, someone is announcing a death somewhere.
Yeah, it is. It's become, it really is. You're scared in the morning when you refresh and see, you kidding me. Anyway, all right, let's quickly take a break. We've got to bring you your news at 7 o'clock. Do stay tuned.